To Councillor Greg Williamson, the Mackay Regional Council councillors, to families associated with the Abel Tasman, to our guests from Rockhampton Grammar School, special guests, ladies and gentlemen. Unlike this beautiful day we have today, pristine winter's day in Mackay, we're going to take you back 65 years throughout today's program and think about a foggy, misty night back on the 10th of June 1960. Good morning and welcome to the commemoration of the 65th anniversary of the crash of the Abel Tasman, a TAA Fokker aircraft. We're gathered to honour not only the memory of those lost, but also the enduring legacy of the lives within our community. The tragic crash of the Abel Tasman left an indelible mark on Mackay. My name is Darryl Camilleri. I'm the nephew of Edgar Dowse, who was one of the 9 Rockhampton Grammar School passengers on the aircraft that fateful evening. As we will hear this morning, this accident remains Australia's worst civil aviation disaster, with all 29 on board losing their lives. Our program this morning includes a prayer from Jim Brown, Reverend Jim Brown, a reflection from the Mayor, a history of the event from Lawrence Manning, who is the son of the Daily Mercury journalist covering the story, Mr. Rod Manning, a recollection from Merrill Napier, an address from Rockhampton Grammar School Principal Stuart Norford. After that, we'll have a roll call of the passengers on board the plane read by the Deputy Mayor Karen May, which will be followed by wreath laying. The final part of the program is the flyover of Mackay Vintage Tiger Moth at 11:45.
Thank you, Darryl, and thank you for inviting me to participate in the service this morning as the RSL Padre, but also I used to service F-111s, military aircraft, 7 years, 9 years in the Air Force. So a little bit of background. Almighty and everlasting God, Creator, Redeemer and Sustainer, we come with our prayers on this 65th anniversary of that fateful day of the air crash, and pray your hand of grace continue to guide and direct us. Mindful, Lord, of those 29 lives that were lost in the crash, and the impact and the effects it had on mothers and fathers, sisters and brothers, children, grandchildren and other relatives and friends of those who were killed in the crash.
Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. To those of you who've travelled to be here, thank you for coming. It's very important that we as a community continue to remember this fateful day. And the 65th anniversary is a very, very poignant time, because as lives get older, as memories fade, it's important as a community that we don't let something like this fade, in terms of not just for history's sake, but the families. And the heartache that the families have gone through every one of those 65 years since that day is truly heartbreaking. It's fantastic to come together as a community and say we are still feeling what was a huge impact on this community 65 years ago.
I've been asked to speak today because of my father Rod Manning's involvement in reporting on this tragedy in the local newspaper, the Daily Mercury. My father was a journalist and would go on to become editor of the Daily Mercury. There were many fewer flights in those days, so this plane was noticeable and well known. The crash occurred around 6 p.m. and there was fog in the area. My father recalled to me watching this plane circling, and he could see the port and starboard lights. A board of accident inquiry was set up to investigate the Fokker crash, and newspaper articles written by my father were included to assist the inquiry. The chair of the board of inquiry, Justice Spicer, strongly recommended the introduction of the black box flight recorder for commercial aircraft. Australia became the first country to mandate the black box on civil aircraft, a trend followed by other countries. Today, all large civil aircraft are required to carry a black box. Incidentally, this is an Australian invention. As Greg said, my father was awarded the Walkley Award, the highest honour in Australian journalism, for his reporting of this crash. The Mackay City Council has arranged today's service, and I believe Mackay will never forget the night of June 10, 1960, and the 29 people whose names are on this memorial and who lost their lives in the crash of Fokker Friendship VH-TFB. May they rest in peace.
On that plane that night were 2 girls that I knew from high school. I met them when I came into Mackay High School from Myanmar, and they were lovely girls, very friendly. And their names were Helen Kidd and Patricia Bishop from Mackay, and they had been transferred from Mackay, like I was, in January 1960. Helen Kidd was travelling home that weekend as she and her dear friend, Christy George from Brightly, out near Eton, were going to be engaged with both families present. So she was coming home to get engaged. And Patricia Bishop was coming home to bid farewell to her brother Tony Bishop, who would soon be leaving for America to further his studies in the priesthood. Both Helen and Patricia were the only daughters in their family, so I thought that would have been dreadful. Dad rang me to tell me of the tragedy and that Stuart Jackson and David and Trevor Patterson had been on that plane. And what a shock. Those were lovely boys who were at North Eton School in the 2 years I was there. I can still see them vividly. I remember them as if they were my young brothers. So I'll never forget those girls and those lovely kids from North Eton. Thank you very much for allowing me to speak.
So greetings and condolences to everyone from the Rockhampton Grammar School community. The traumatic loss of 29 lives here on June 10, 1960 impacted the lives of family and friends of all those lost. Initially to an unbearable extent, and then over the decades subsiding to a permanent, subliminal sense of grief and loss that resonates to this day. None more so than the families of the 9 Rockhampton Grammar School boarding students denied their adult lives by fate. On behalf of the school, I extend the most sincere condolences to the family members of our 9 boys, those present here today or observing at home or at rest. As we lay wreaths shortly, one of which is on behalf of that school community, we extend our empathy to not just the families of our boys, but to all those affected by the loss of the Abel Tasman 65 years ago, including and especially acknowledging those who are gathered here today.
It's my absolute privilege to be able to read the roll and pay our respects to those 29 victims from the TAA Fokker Friendship Abel Tasman plane crash. Captain Francis Charles Pollard, First Officer Gordon Lloyd Davis, Hostess June Hamilton, Hostess Mary Catherine Wilmer, Master Maxwell James Barclay, Miss Patricia Mary Bishop, Mr. Vincent Nicholas Bison, Master Donald Francis Brown, Master Brian Francis Burnell, Mr. Alfred Edward Cole, Master Edward Leslie Dowes, Mr. John Fisher, Master Frederick James Graham, Miss Mavis Harris, Master Stuart Douglas Jackson, Miss Helen Mary Kidd, Master Alan Morrow, Mr. John Francis O'Grady, Master David Patterson, Master Trevor Patterson, Mr. Dudley Mollison Phillips, Mr. Hans Paul Rasmussen, Mr. Clifford Rhodes, Mr. John Saul, Mrs. R. Sheeran, Mr. Robert Sweeting, Mr. Keith Vanderveld, Mr. Robert Francis Walker, and Mr. C. R. Williams.
When I